Well, hey guys, welcome to the studio. Today, the review of the Taylor Academy 10E guitar, seen here, has joined our stable of acoustic guitars that we use here in the studio from makers such as Guild and one of our favorites, Yamaha. These are some outstanding instruments, but the Taylor has a very specific pedigree. More about that. Let's get to it. In one of the most interesting things that I've ever seen in this business, in 1995, Bob Taylor found himself in a little bit of a war, and it was a war of words. His guitars were phenomenal. There were other established brands that had been around, in some cases, for around 100 years. Bob Taylor had gotten himself some very, very fine woods to work with, and was making the point that really the craftsmanship played a bigger part than the woods. And to the other established brands, they said, well, that's heresy. You need phenomenal woods to make a phenomenal guitar. And then this happened. In the year 2000, Bob Taylor released this. It's infamous. It's known as the pallet guitar. And he made it out of old wooden pallets from their loading dock. Now, this has to be some of the junkiest wood that he could practically get his hands on. He made the sides and back from an old weathered oak pallet. And that's what the wood looked like. The infamous design they used for the fingerboard was a forklift, and the design was done by Larry Breedlove, a famous luthier in his own right. The top of the guitar was made out of these old wood pallets, but soft wood. Undescript. They don't even know what it was. Probably some kind of cheap pine with holes in it from the nails, and they filled in those holes with aluminum filler. This was the infamous pallet guitar of the year 2000. It was 5 years in the making, but they did it. And I'm leading with this because it's very important to understand something, I think, about how Taylor approaches building a guitar. And here you can see, this was a limited edition. They only made 25 of them. There is one used on reverb.com, which is where I got these pictures. It's going for about $9,000 right now. And why am I leading off with this? Because he built this out of crappy junk wood. It was worthless. And he built a guitar that in today's market is worth close to $10,000, with some of these models selling for that or more. And here, for under $700, is the Taylor Academy 10E. Now, this is a gorgeous guitar in terms of the woods, but it's fairly standard wood. This is made in Mexico. I did get the one with the electronic package in it, which is what makes it the 10E. They do have a basic non-electric model, which goes for, I think, $599. It's absolutely gorgeous to look at. It's a nice satin finish. It does have the bowed out back on it, which let me see if I can show you. There's a little bit of a curve here, but there's also a curve right here. This is their armrest cutaway. And if you get your arm right on that, ooh, it's comfortable. No more sharp edge there. The tone, it's beautiful. About what you'd expect from a Taylor, I would say the 100 series or 200 series. The guitar is a hair smaller. It's a 15/16 size, which means that from side to side, it's about 1 inch narrower than a standard Dreadnought model. Let's put it through a few quick paces for tone and playability. The action, low. Not as low as I've seen on some Taylors, but I would consider this to be low action. It's lower than my Yamahas. The The tone. Chimey, full, beautiful tone. Playability, it's right there where you'd expect a Taylor to be. Now, many years ago, I had interviewed Bob Taylor for a magazine article, and I found him to be fascinating. He was working on using lasers to align the neck joints on his new type of neck that they started using in the year 2000 called the NT neck. The previous models, 1999 and before, were bolt-ons. But why did I start this off talking about this palette guitar from the year 2000? Bob Taylor was looking to send a message to the industry that yes, quality, interesting woods would make quality, interesting guitars, but a good guitar builder could build a guitar with very terrible materials and still make a great guitar that in today's market is still worth thousands of dollars. And the way that he did that was a quality build. The guy knows how to build a guitar. He's arguably one of the best. Now, back in the day, I spent years working as a factory certified technician on Taylor guitars. I could never afford one because that's how they pay factory certified field technicians. I was working on guitars for a few major players in a variety of different brands. I always knew I wanted a Taylor in the studio. I very nearly bought a model called Big Baby, which is also that 15/16 size, so about 1 inch narrower than a normal guitar. But I didn't find that it had a depth to the sound that I was looking for. Enter the Academy model. Not only does it have that cool cutaway for where your arm goes, it's also deeper in body. It's a bigger chamber, so it provides a little bit more of a boom and a little bit more warmth. For me, it was a no-brainer. I went and checked one out, had to buy it. Sweetwater had a good deal on a demo model. Came with a nice gig bag. I'm very happy with it. If you've watched this channel for a while, you do know that we use quite a few acoustic guitars in here from mainly Yamaha, but also a vintage Guild guitar, also a Martin Sigma, which was a Japanese-built Martin from the 80s. As far as recording, the Taylor is so easy. I tend to use small diaphragm condenser microphones, but large diaphragm condenser microphones work well, even a dynamic microphone. It's not difficult to get a good sound out of this guitar. And make sure to check out our video on 6 miking positions that we did for acoustic guitars that can really open a lot of doors for you. If you're enjoying this discussion, come join us in our Facebook group, Recording Tips. And you could be a friend. Click subscribe. The more subscribers we have, the easier it is for us to lure experts into our discussions. Bottom line, guys, it's a quality build. Out of their Mexican factory, these guitars have that Taylor feel. They have that Taylor tone. They don't break the bank. Keep your eyes open. You might even find a deal on one. And Taylors have generally always gone up in value. Makes it a good decision to add to my studio. And thank you guys for coming out. I had fun making this video. I hope you got something out of it. We got a lot of work to do. Let's get to it.